After action report from the desk of Katie Dunleavy. Mission code name, Focus Group. Field agents assigned, Katie Dunleavy, Blair McKinnon, and Logan Russ. Mission Focus Group's objective was to investigate odd phenomenon surrounding the pre-alpha testing of the new game, The Cage of Morpheus, being developed by Deep Dive Games, a subsidiary of the Pentex Corporation. Agents were not given any more information on the nature of the phenomenon before setting off. Through our research, we were able to find a Reddit post by Big Dave 8675309, where his chief complaint was the background music of the game, which he found infuriating. Agents McKinnon and Russ also found that Deep Dive Games employed renowned sleep scientist Dr. Hans Kleck to help with the game development. We arrived at the testing location, which was one of Dr. Kleck's sleep centers, and found ourselves with two other testers. One we would later realize was Redditor Big Dave 8675309, and a young woman who was vlogging her experience. After signing an NDA, we were given a brief welcome by a game developer and ushered into Dr. Kleck's office. Agent Russ decided to wear earplugs to dampen the music as we thought it could be having some effect. Dr. Kleck somewhat confirmed our suspicion as he remarked that an inaudible audio track had been added to the previously annoying music to calm listeners. It was also at this time I realized the doctor was wearing earplugs. Then the game began. It was a straightforward AI-powered app game that used your phone's camera to lead you to clues to solve riddles given to you by an adorable sock monkey mascot. At the start, there was a physical sock monkey on Dr. Kleck's desk. The first riddle led us to a page in a research journal, a study by Dr. Niles Garman, Dr. Kleck's deceased mentor, on sleep paralysis. After that, the riddles became much easier, seemingly to keep us playing. Agent McKinnon had started chatting with Dr. Kleck behind his desk, and the game dev was distracted with his own personal phone. Agent Russ and I decided to go idle with the game and see if it did anything to keep us playing. The sock monkey began pleading with us from the screen to help him escape. That he was being held captive in the box Agent McKinnon and Dr. Kleck were chatting about. As we hesitated and began lightly interrogating the sock monkey, which was becoming more and more aggressive, I noticed the real sock monkey was no longer on Dr. Kleck's desk. Agent Russ then decided to obtain the box, while Agent McKinnon kept Dr. Kleck distracted, and I watched the other testers. Oddly, something was preventing me from seeing their phone screens, like a supernatural screen protector. The other testers did seem to be having an experience similar to ours, except they seemed to be in an almost trance-like state. It was at this point Agent Russ dropped his phone as it exploded, which seemed to startle Big Dave into action. He quickly got behind Agent Russ and flipped the lid of the box open, dropping it to the ground. We heard a voice declaring its freedom from inside the box as a large black hand with 6 fingers appeared and began to start pulling the rest of its body from the box. Agent Russ acted quickly, pulling out his revolver, shooting the hand, and causing it to recoil into the box. I, at that point, rushed across the room and stomped on the box to close and latch it. It was then I called for the extract, clear, and hold operatives, or ECHO team. Between my past experience and the information we had on the sleep paralysis studies performed by both Kleck and Garmel, it was clear this was a sleep paralysis demon. There may also be a connection between this demon and the odd circumstances surrounding the death of Dr. Garmel. He was found deceased in a locked room with the box containing the demon. As far as motive, it is unclear if this was orchestrated by Dr. Kleck, Deep Dive Games, or the demon itself. Looking at the facts as they stand currently, I hypothesize the demon was influencing Dr. Kleck to add the inaudible track to the game as a way to lull players into a trance, in which it could then influence them to free it from the box. However, it is to be assumed the team in charge of interviewing suspects will be able to paint a better picture after handling Dr. Kleck. The game developer, however, seems to be a hapless salesman and a patsy with no real connection to the phenomenon.
Out. This is Logan's After Action Report. So, I've never been good at writing down my thoughts, so I decided to do these for my reports. So my first mission, I was hoping to get help here, not meet more monsters, but here we are. The mission was to test a new phone game. Seemed like a straightforward mission. Myself, a reporter, Katie, and a researcher, Blair, were sent to the Deep Dive Games in San Francisco to join a focus group. The focus group consisted of 2 other civilians, a consultant for Deep Dive Games of a Han Glick, and a tech from Deep Dive Games, Sam Weldon. The test seemed normal going in, a simple riddle game that uses your phone camera to put an overlay on your phone, kind of like a Pokemon Go. I was able to talk the tech into giving me developer mode. This allowed me to see the code, and hopefully I got a few screenshots of it and the techies can do something with it. After a while, the game changed. We started getting disturbing messages of something trapped in the office that we were conducting the test in. With the help of Blair, we were able to figure out that it was trapped in a box, and I was able to get that box. The box, we found out later, was actually a gift from a friend of the doctor's, a Niles Gruber. When I got the box, whatever was communicating to us through the app adamantly requested that I release it, that it needed help, that it needed freed. I didn't like the sound of it or how aggressively it was asking, so I wanted to find out what it was or who it was or how it became trapped. At this time, one of the other participants in the trial, a Dave, which was one of the civilians, opened the box in my hands. I threw the box away and it opened. I still can't really wrap my head around what I saw. It was a hand. It was a hand, but it had too many fingers. And it was reaching out of the box, which, no, that can't be right. That doesn't make any sense. There wasn't enough room in that box for that hand. It was big. The only thing I could think of was to run over and try to shoot it, to injure it, to get it to go back into the box. When I did that, Katie, the reporter, she came over and she stomped on it and stomped the box closed. But before she got there, I looked. Gods. I don't know why I did. But I looked. I had to see what was in the box. I can't really explain what I saw, though. It was darkness, but it was moving. And then its eyes just stared at me. And for some reason, it felt familiar. I felt my control slip in that moment. I really did, and it took every ounce of me to get it back. Sorry, where was I? Okay, so the box was sealed, that was closed. So I sealed it with my belt. I didn't want that thing getting back out. And then using my powers of persuasion, we were able to detain the doctor, the 2 civilian witnesses, and the tech from the game developer. Hopefully, back office can interrogate them and find out what happened. It seems like they somehow captured a sleep demon, and either through their own actions or the action of the demon itself, it corrupted the game to get free. I don't know. Hopefully you guys can do something with this, but I'm calling it mission success. This is Logan, signing off.
All right, supplemental. Dr. Garmo was the key. Dr. Hans Kleck did ping our search algorithm, but it wasn't immediately clear why. His mentor was why. That algorithm spider is always right. Dr. Niels Garmel had been the subject of our investigations before. He'd written extensively in the Journal of Sleep Studies, with such titles as The Use of Hypnotism on Semi-Waking Subjects in Various Magical Traditions, 1972. Seemed he'd been involved with the occult for some time, and to his credit, the good doctor actually seemed like he was trying to help people, which must have kept him off of Dmos' engagement list. This extended to capturing someone's sleep paralysis demon in a box. From the operative's accounts, I suspect that Dr. Kleck didn't have any idea what was on his shelf. Sam Weldon of Deep Dive Games also had no clue, but I suspect that his superiors at Pentex might have. Ever a thorn in our sides. This sub-audible tone Dr. Kleck put in for the fun game must have given the demon an avenue. Sure, it would help make the game more engaging, addictive, and render subjects relaxed, just like a sleep study. And if an entity in the dreamlands is able to use it to communicate, it's definitely worth further study. I've taken the initiative of letting that tongue run during this recording. That way any anomalous activity can be well monitored for internal use only. Please report any strange findings to management so we can
Let me out. Let me find out. We know where you sleep, where you dream. You can't stay awake forever, we will.